Jordan Poole is inevitably an all-star for this upcoming season, and here's why. The new Wizards guard didn't quite have the expected leap in his game this past season compared to the previous season. Obviously, with his extension last year of $140 million for 4 years, many expected Poole's game to step it up a notch. However, that wasn't the case, as his field goal percentage went from 44.8% in 2022 to 43% in 2023, and his three-point percentage went from 36.4% in 2022 to 33.6% in 2023. Now his overall stats did increase in 2023. However, the efficiency just wasn't quite there, as some would argue that he got significantly worse this past season. In 13 games in the 2023 playoffs, Poole averaged just 10.3 points, 3.5 assists, and 2.2 rebounds compared to his 17 points, 3.8 assists, and 2.8 rebounds in the 2022 playoffs throughout 17 games. Now, his playoff performance was really concerning, which is why I ultimately believe the Warriors pushed for the controversial trade in getting Chris Paul. But a player doesn't just simply fall off like that randomly, so what exactly happened? Now, for a player like Jordan Poole, it seems like he thrives when he understands his given role. Throughout the 2022 playoffs, Poole played a significant sixth-man role for the Warriors and understood his assigned capabilities. His job was to go out there on the court and do as much as he can to stop the bleeding with Klay and Steph off the court. Poole understood that his impact, to carry the bench load while half the starters were off the court, directly translated to the team's success, and he did just that. This impactful sixth-man role that led to the Warriors winning their 4th championship in just 7 years resulted to Poole getting paid a phenomenal amount from the organization. Now, this was the beginning to his downfall. When a player gets a contract as big as Poole did, 99% of the time it's not for a bench role. However, the Warriors did just that. Seeing that Poole's ability to handle the sixth-man role behind their star guards of Steph and Klay resulted to them winning a championship, the Golden State Warriors believed that he was worth a whopping $35 million a year to play a bench role. Obviously, this bothered Poole. This most likely caused him to act out, and this punch by Draymond probably wasn't a coincidence. Based on Poole's performance and attitude this whole season, he most likely was not satisfied at all with his bench role. He saw an increase of 6 regular season games between 2022 and 2023, however, had a decrease of 8 season games as a starter. That is not the sort of playtime you want to get as a player who just got paid that much money. His attitude not only made him play worse, but also made him lose the will to play at all, as he saw an all-time low of just 10 minutes in Game 4 against the Lakers. With all that being said, Jordan Poole is now on a much worse team, being the Washington Wizards, and will finally have a much larger role that he's been expecting. After all, a player getting paid $35 million a year should be a first-option player or a second-option player at worst. My prediction of the Wizards' starting 5 will be Tyus Jones at point guard, Jordan Poole at shooting guard, Deni Avdija at small forward, Kyle Kuzma at power forward, and Daniel Gafford at center at the time of this recording. Now, Tyus Jones, Deni Avdija, and Daniel Gafford haven't had a single season in their careers where they averaged over single-digit field goal attempts per game. As context, the 2023 Warriors had 4 players, including Poole, that was averaging double-digit field goal attempts per game. Now heading into this upcoming season, the Wizards will have only 2 players that have attempted double-digit field goal attempts per game in this past season. What does this exactly mean? Well, Jordan Poole is officially that guy for the Washington Wizards. He should easily be averaging over 20 shots a game compared to 15.6 shots a game he averaged last year. So what if Jordan Poole does average 20 shots per game? Well, in this past season, out of the 17 players who averaged over 18 shots a game, 14 of those players were deemed all-stars. The other 3 that weren't were Klay Thompson, Trae Young, and Terry Rozier. Besides Terry Rozier, you could undeniably argue that those other two players had all-star caliber seasons, which is why I believe Jordan Poole will easily be an all-star, or at least a respectable all-star level guard after this upcoming season. Now, for those that might say Poole just simply forgot how to play basketball, that's just simply wrong. I wholeheartedly believe his playoff struggle was simply attitude issues with the lack of playtime he was getting. With a lack of playing time, the last of his concerns, now that he's playing in Washington, he should be back to his regular self. Additionally, we were able to see 26 games this past season as a sample size of what Jordan Poole looks like as a primary guard with Steph Curry out due to injuries. He averaged 26.1 points, 5 assists, and 2.8 rebounds while shooting exactly 20 shots a game. With 26 points a game, which I think he should easily conquer this upcoming season, there is absolutely no chance he isn't selected as an NBA All-Star. Kyle Kuzma averaged 21.2 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 3.7 assists in 64 games this past season. He had one of the most underrated seasons in 2023, as he was even named one of the biggest All-Star snubs. If you look at Kuzma's previous seasons from 2019, he's constantly improving, whether that's scoring or playmaking or rebounding. I believe there's nothing holding him back from having an even better season now that Kristaps Porzingis and Bradley Beal are gone. His shooting volume will undoubtedly increase, as mentioned with Poole, and the absence of a 7-3 frame in Porzingis should boost his rebounding numbers to 8 or 9 per game, maybe even 10. The only point in his game that might take a hit is his playmaking with the Wizards bringing in facilitators like Tyus Jones and Jordan Poole. But despite that, Kuzma's scoring ability is continuing to improve as the seasons go on, and it should take another huge leap this upcoming season. As he was a borderline all-star this past season, if all goes well, I think he should be a no-brainer pick for a 2024 NBA All-Star. Now, unfortunately, despite my prediction of the Wizards having 2 All-Stars, I don't think they are good enough to make the playoffs, neither are they making the play-in. The Washington Wizards, as of right now, simply don't have nearly the amount of depth they need to earn a play-in spot. I think there's only 4 teams in the East that they are better than, which would make them the 11th seed, just missing a play-in spot. Those 4 teams, in my opinion, are the Orlando Magic, Charlotte Hornets, the Detroit Pistons, and the Brooklyn Nets. Some of the runner-ups are the Pacers, Raptors, and the Bulls. I think immediately we can cross out the Bulls, as they should more than likely have a much better season this time around. It took a while for LaVine to get back to 100% after his off-season knee surgery, which is what I believe to be a significant component as to why the Bulls had such a bad start to the season. Now, the Raptors, as of right now, with Siakam, Scottie, and OG as the main core, their defensive ability makes them too good to rank them below the Wizards currently. Finally, with the Pacers, honestly, this is a toss-up. You could definitely make a serious case that the 2024 Wizards finish ahead of the 2024 Pacers, hypothetically putting them in a play-in spot. However, the Wizards' bench is just horrendous, as the only notable bench players they have are their recent draft pick, Coulibaly, and maybe Gallinari. Reasoning as to why I'd still rank the Pacers over the Wizards.